Hey everybody, welcome back to Absolutely Marvel and DC. Today, we're going to be talking about Legends of Tomorrow, Season 6 premiere. I'm Dylan, that's Dan. We are both huge Legends of Tomorrow fans, I think.
That we are. That we definitely are.
If you've been watching our discussions on The Flash and, what's the other one? Superman and Lois.
Superman, yep.
Then we've mentioned Legends of Tomorrow, especially in The Flash quite a few times. I think I even brought it up on some of Benny and I's Supergirl talks.
Probably, because we often look at them and go, you know who would be a good character from this show to go to Legends? Chester.
Right. Yeah.
Which,
we
for
got
the record,
Chester, Killer Frost. There's so many characters that could just...
So many good ones.
I think I pitched Alex Danvers or Martian Manhunter going on to Legends as well.
That would be a pretty
just
good
one. Just to give them some more life. But yeah, so this episode was the premiere of Season 6, and surprisingly... So... I didn't watch the last episode of Season 5 because I, forgot that it aired. And then
okay.
I noticed it because I saw it and I was like, oh, maybe I should watch that. And I was like, nah, season 6 is starting. Like, it's going to come up with more episodes. Because I figured that it wasn't like a finale because COVID had interrupted it like it did with the rest of the shows.
Right.
But it kind of ended. And this kind of felt like an actual season premiere.
It did.
You think the same?
Yes, no, exactly. I completely agree because I was going into it thinking, are we going to get another Flash situation where we're going to have the finale of last season and then start a new one? And no, not at all. They're just straight up like, okay, well, that all happened and got concluded. Aliens. Let's start. And I'm like, okay, this... Like, they just jump right into it, too. There was no, easing into it. I remember that it did end the last season with the abduction. And so I did remember, a little bit there. But this episode, actually, I was nervous. I don't know about you, but whenever aliens are brought into shows, there's always that little bit of... okay, how are they going to make this work? Are the aliens going to look good? Is it going to look super, super cheesy and we're going to go in cringing? No, not at all. I really enjoyed this episode. Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I think the because I kind of watched these back to back, the previous episode, I guess finale of season 5, I thought was a little rushed. I'm not sure why. Maybe they knew that they weren't going to be able to film soon or something. I'm not sure.
Right.
But maybe they have some kind of fortune teller on staff at Legends.
I mean, they are time travelers.
Yeah,
so.
True. Wouldn't surprise me. But yeah, I liked this episode a lot. I think it did a good job of setting up a season with a plot that is essentially the same plot that they've been doing for the past 3 seasons, just with a different this time it's aliens throughout the timeline instead of encores.
Right.
Which, who cares if the plot is all you need is the same exact plot to throw the nonsense that this show's characters get into
exactly
at it, and it works. I'm with you. I am super concerned all the time about aliens and different, the budget, what that allows creatures to look like. And I'm so glad because we got kind of a taste of both. We got a CG monster which didn't look good, but then also the big twist, the aliens that Gary has been one of the whole time.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that was I thought that they look great, but they also look a little fake and goofy enough to very much fit the Legends of Tomorrow vibe.
Yes.
That's what I love about it, is that you look at them and you go, okay, those are some cool looking aliens, but I can tell that they're suits that these people are just wearing and walking around. And that's what makes it so much just very Legends of Tomorrow. Because the first one, the first alien that you see, the evil one that was captured, like you said, full CG, honestly looked good. It was good CG. It was pretty solid, but I'm glad that was not the standard, or at least the standard for the version of Alien that Gary is. I do, saying it out loud now, I have a small fear that we're going to get too much of an intermingle of full CG versus not. But I mean, we'll see that as it comes through through the rest of the season, but I loved the way that they had Gary be an alien the whole time. But what made it great, or at least what made it great for me, was that it was still Gary. Like it wasn't like it was this act he was doing the whole time. No, it was Gary being Gary, and he just happened to be an alien. And I loved this episode. I thought it was good because we also got a good look at all the different characters, where they are currently, and how they're kind of adapting to like Nate, with his version of Zari being in the totem, while also dealing with the fact that the Zari that's in existence is having a thing with John Constantine. We've got Astra doing her like pseudo, I'm mortal now, things are different. I thought this was a really solid, really strong start to the season that made me interested in seeing what's going to happen, but also enjoying having the Legends back and having it feel like the Legends being back. And I'm really excited for the rest of this season. I wasn't sure how I was going to feel, but I'm really excited.
Yeah, definitely. Me too. The aliens being how they are, like the whole twist of Gary being an alien the whole time, I think is so like quintessentially what this show has become, because it's like such a non-thing. Like he just is an alien now, and like you can criticize this show for like that coming out of nowhere,
right?
And like I'm sure they'll build on it more later and it'll make more sense as the season progresses, but like in this episode they're just like, he's an alien, moving on. And it's like that's a pretty big reveal.
They're just like, Gary, alien. All right, so this thing over here.
But like the fact that we're sitting here as fans of the show and not complaining that they would do that to a character that's been on this show for so many seasons is just like a testament to how ridiculous this show has become, and how like aware of how ridiculous this show has become. The show is.
Yes.
Which I think is perfect. Like I have concerns about the rest of the season. I honestly think season 5, from what I remember, is one of the better seasons, just because it really utilized the budget like super well. Because this has always been like, despite it being like a time travel show, it's always been, I think, the lowest budget show.
It's gotta be.
Just because
it has to be.
They have shorter seasons. They have the Wave Rider set and then just a lot of practical stuff. And I think that ends up working out better for them, because they have to deal in like not these very like huge plot centric, like, back in season 1 where you only saw Firestorm be Firestorm for like 2 episodes because they didn't have the budget to actually CG Firestorm. Right. But now, like, and I think that's why season 5 worked, because the Encores were people. Like, they weren't CG monsters. They weren't Fuerza from The Flash, who looks horrible.
We're not going to touch on that.
No. But, like, that is where one of my concerns for this season comes from, is that we're doing aliens, and that can, and I hope it does, mean that they're just going to get really wacky with, like, practical effects, like, classic, like, Star Wars, Star Trek type, like guys in suits, like Power Rangers type stupid looking guys. But also we did get like a CG monster in this episode, so I don't know which way they're gonna go.
Yeah, I will say I like, because what you were saying with the season 5 being probably one of their best, I completely agree. It, like, the theme of it, everything about it worked for time traveling, goofy, funny, but still making it work. And I have a feeling that this season being aliens and space kind of stuff, I think this is their way of kind of going, okay, look, we know we're a part of the CW verse, but we're not a part of it, because most people might be aware, they might have forgotten, they were not a part of the last, the Crisis on Infinite Earths, or whatever the crisis was that
they were in that one. They weren't in the one before that. They weren't in Elseworlds.
They weren't in Elseworlds. That's right. Yeah. But like, I feel like this season is going to be kind of them going, okay, so they're a part of it, but stop thinking they might show up in some of this stuff. But I got to touch on it because I want to know whether or not your mind went to this when they talk about, I know I'm jumping all over the place, when they're talking about the girl from the tabloid that could communicate with aliens. I can't remember her first name, but her last name was Cruz.
Yeah.
And immediately I'm like, Jessica Cruz. Are we getting Jessica Cruz? Because we're also going with aliens in space where Green Lanterns are. And I was like, okay, is that why we're getting the CG of this one alien to show that they can do it so that later on we're going to get the Green Lanterns in this? Kind of how we got like the first look at Inhumans in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Because I really hope we get Jessica Cruz. Even if it's this Spooner Cruz girl, I don't care. When they said Cruz and it was about aliens, I was like, oh my God, Jessica Cruz, we're getting Green Lanterns.
I would be surprised if they went that way. I would be surprised if they introduced Green Lanterns in general on this show, just because I know they've been, like, Arrow has been setting that up for a long time, and Diggle got a ring at the end of Crisis. So, like,
okay,
he's
true.
Around. Like, if he's going to come back, it's probably going to be on The Flash as a Green Lantern. But also, like, I had the same thought when her name was Esperanza Cruz, and I was like, does she maybe have a daughter now named Jessica, and they're going to do, like, a Monica Rambeau thing, where they go into the future, and then she's Jessica Cruz there. But, I don't know, I feel like Jessica Cruz in the comics, like, her origin is so perfectly like a Legends. It would fit in, like this basket case who has a huge mess of agoraphobia. Like, that would be perfect for a character just thrown into the Legends
for them. Exactly. Like, it's like you have the perfect crew of supportive people that's like kind of get what she's going through. We've got the assassin that died 3 times. We've got Nate who fell in love with someone, became a time traveler. The person he fell in love with looks like this other person, but she's now trapped in a like, it's so messy that it works so Now, do I think that it's going to happen? Probably not. I think if it did happen, it would be like she only does Green Lantern things off camera, and she's just always just walking around in green with the ring or something, which would be totally a Legends thing to do, to have someone be the Green Lantern but not actually show it.
They would make fun of it too. She'd come on screen after doing Green Lantern stuff, and she'd be like, "What did I miss, guys? I just took out like an entire infantry of alien starships." Right. And they're like, I wanted to see that.
or the rest of them are just looking out the window going, oh my gosh, did you see her create a boat in space? Like,
if only other people could see what's going on right now. They just don't show it.
It would be such a Legends thing. I kind of hope it happens. I don't expect it to, but I think it's going to be interesting seeing aliens throughout time, though, because it seems like that's where they're going with it.
Yeah. Because it's definitely they've gotten into a rhythm with this show at this point, where, like, season 4 was just like time anomalies. It was displaced people, so. And then Encores was just literally they just did it again, but they're coming from hell this time. And now we are doing the same plot point again, but it's aliens. But again, like, that sounds like a criticism, but this show is so ridiculous at this point. Like, it knows what it's doing. Like,
oh yeah.
You know, if you have a formula that works, just keep doing it.
Yeah.
Like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And this is, like, sometimes you want shows to, like, mix it up. Like The Flash is a good example of doing the same thing over and over again not working, because that is a show that has a lot of character in it, but it's way more about the plot and, like, moving the plot forward, because that's just what the writers want to focus on with that show. But this show, ever since, like, mid-season 2, season 3 especially onward, has always been about, like, who cares what's going on? We just want, like, funny moments to happen between these characters.
Yeah.
And we just need something that drives them forward and puts them into these situations.
They kind of have it in the, like, the Supernatural formula, where overall it's kind of the same thing, but each episode has the monster of the week, because that is what Legends does. Is it's like last season, the monster of the week was the Encore of the week. But Dude, I'm excited. I'm so glad that we've got this show back in the rotation, because while Flash and Superman and Lois, they're fun, they have their lower moments, but Legends has always been the one that I'm like, I'm excited to watch this. Like,
Yeah.
I'm actually
Same.
like, I want to see what happens. I want to see what ridiculousness they're going to do with these glasses that turns anyone into Gary. Or like that, or like, there's just so much in it. The humor, it's just such a great show. I'm so glad it's back.
There's got to be a scene in this show somewhere where Gary takes his glasses off and doesn't turn into an alien.
Oh no,
right?
I was actually he does. He definitely does in previous episodes, because I know for a fact there are times where he takes them off to clean them.
Yeah.
No, knowing Legends, they'll come up with something about it. They'll probably be like, "Oh, well, when this started happening, that's when it started getting disconnected," and they'll make something stupid up, and we're all gonna go, "Makes sense.
Sure. Yeah.
I'll take it." You know
Yeah,
what?
like
You got me.
Well, that was the first thought that came into my mind when I saw him put the glasses on. I was like, oh, so so this for sure doesn't work. He's definitely taken his glasses off previously and not turned into an alien. But immediately I'm like, who cares? It doesn't matter. Like,
Yeah.
This show is so, like, it's hard for me to call it like an excellent show, just because it has, it's a CW show. Like, it's not it's not like prime time it's not
Right.
Breaking Bad, you know what I mean? But it's dumb, and that's why we like it, because it's silly. Not dumb in like a bad way, but like it's goofy, and it knows it's goofy. That's the problem with a lot of the other CW shows, like Supergirl especially, is they're goofy, but they don't know that they're goofy. So they're just like a chore to watch through, because they don't
Right.
embrace the fact that they're stupid, and you gotta know it, and you
Or
gotta
sometimes,
give into the schlock.
right, and sometimes they go a little too much into it. Like some shows, they kind of dive too much into the goofiness, and then you're like, all right, now, like, you can kind of tell you're trying a little hard. Legends does not feel like that. Legends
Yeah.
is just that organic.
It's just
like,
fun.
It's fun. Exactly. It's fun, and all the characters and actors on it know what they're doing. Like, they know who they are, but they also know that it's almost like this show is it's almost like this show is like a very long SNL skit of all the other shows.
Yeah,
Like, where you're like, this is hilarious.
it's a parody of itself.
It's a parody of itself. That's exactly what it is. It's all a parody of the first season where they tried to be serious, but now they know that they're not that. I just, we could go in circles all day about how, like, they just really, really fit that humor into this show, and I'm excited to have it back. I'm curious to see what else is in those pods, though, because we showed one guy. We've got, like, the alien. We then all of a sudden had Spartacus from a different point in time. And then we also
that's
have...
true. That's a good point.
Yeah, and then we've also got Sarah. So you can tell that these aliens... And they opened a time portal. So you can tell this alien ship or this alien race knows how to time travel, has grabbed things from different planets, including Earth previously. So it's like, where are they going to go with this? Like, there's so many routes, because we've also got Sarah and Gary landing on this new planet. What's the new planet going to be? Like, what's going to be on? Like, there's just so much to this show now with them being in space that I'm excited and nervous, because, like we were saying, they know they're goofy. They dive into it. But there is that potential of them going too far. I don't think they will.
Sure.
I think they've found that of knowing the line that you don't cross, because then it becomes like a, what the hell's going on?
Right.
I'm so excited. I'm so
Same.
glad this show's back.
I want to commend this show for something that it has no right to be as good at. It is consistently the one that I feel like, despite it not existing in the crossovers as much as the other shows, it's the one that pays attention to continuity the most.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Oh,
in this
definitely.
episode, we get Ava being like, yeah, we're going to contact the DEO, who is now on, like, post-crisis, the DEO, which is the Supergirl organization, is on Earth. So, obviously, yeah, they would contact them because they're the ones who helped with alien stuff in the past. And then, like, my first thought when I saw that, because someone who watches Supergirl was like, oh, are they going to contact the because they mention Alex Danvers. Because they've been away for a while. Alex is no longer part of the DEO. The DEO is gone. So, which I'm glad they, like...
They reference it.
They reference the previous season of Supergirl, where Rama Khan, who's like this god guy, just blows up the DEO and it's in shambles. Which, like, they didn't need to do that. They didn't need to reference the DEO in any way. But they did. And I like the show, like... kind of does that a lot, which I'm glad about, because it is a show born out of continuity. Like, this show would not exist if the CW verse hadn't gotten to the state that it did, because it was born out of a crossover. And all of these characters, well, now a lot of them originate in Legends canon itself, but like the start of this, like all of them, with the exception of like Rip Hunter and I think just
Ava.
Rip Hunter.
And Ava, because she's from the Time Bureau, but
she was
everyone else,
season 1, I'm talking, like pretty much everyone on that show except for Rip was from other shows. So, but yeah, now we've gotten to this point where it's a completely different cast.
Right.
But yet they still respect continuity, which I think is a mighty...
They respect continuity, and they very cleverly add in social commentary, because when they reference the DEO getting destroyed, they're like, yeah, it was one of the many catastrophes in that horrible year of 2020. And it's like, you know what they're poking fun at. You know what's going on. And like, they just do the very light ones where you're like, I love this stuff. I love this stuff. I'm so excited. I'm so glad this show's back, man.
Same.
I've been waiting.
Well, I think it's safe to say that Dan and I are excited for Legends of Tomorrow. Next week, Benny will probably be joining us. He said he's just gonna jump into season 6, and we're gonna field his questions, which he will have many of.
If he did not, I would be concerned, because
yeah,
even I have questions, and I've watched all of it. So
true. So yeah, join us next we'll be talking about that. The Flash and Superman and Lois is coming back soon. So we got plenty of CW shows to talk about. So stay tuned. So Absolutely Marvel and DC for that. I'm Dylan. That's Dan. We're gonna go time travel somewhere. Where would you go?
Well, that's a tough spot to be put under. I don't know. Somewhere in the future, because I don't know, it might change.
Fair enough. Agreed. See you guys next time.
See you, everyone.